Hello and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be doing an impromptu reading vlog, which hopefully won't take very long. I'm hoping I finish both of these by the end of January, which is, I think, about a week. It is the 24th. So yeah, I have about a week to read these, which I hope I can. One's kind of long, but there's a reason I should be able to finish them. I have been whizzing through books, but this month is definitely turning out to be a quantity and not necessarily quality reading month, which I'm getting through a ton of stuff, but I have no 5-star reads. I have no 5-star reads, which is kind of horribly upsetting because I normally have at least one because I am not a difficult rater. I am very generous with my ratings, but apparently that has changed this year because no 5 stars, no 5 stars. So I took a couple days break. Or actually, I took 1 day break from reading. I kind of tested both of these, like did a try chapter with both of them to see how I was feeling about reading, but otherwise gave my brain a bit of a break because I've been reading so much. And now we're going to really start these with gusto. I don't know which one I want to start first, but we've got 2 books here that are two of my books I want to read in 2023, and they're definitely 2 books that are my most anticipated of 2023. So first, we have episode 13. I actually got it yesterday, 1 day early than the release date, which is really cool, and I'm really glad I went because they only had 1 in store. This is one of those books that stores are only going to carry 1 or 2 copies of because it is a more niche horror. It's not like by a big author, but a lot of people have heard about this one because it's about a ghost hunting show. Yeah, a ghost hunting show. I am so excited. It's basically about this cast of characters who are producing and shooting a brand new ghost hunting show called Fade to Black, and it's so cool. It is actually, I didn't know this beforehand, but it is super mixed media. There are interviews, blog posts, transcripts from filming and all this stuff, but they are going to a never before explored house where there's paranormal experiments that were done. So I'm just like, this sounds amazing. This is not a 5-star prediction only because I don't ever give horror 5-star predictions because it's just not my normal genre that I read, so it has to be super specific for me to give it a 5-star, but I do think this could come close. I think this could come close. Either way, I think this will be a really fun reading experience, so that's at least something. Like, I just want something fun right now. And of course, one of my 5-star predictions from that 2023 video is The Stolen Heir. I'm so nervous to read this because I really loved the Cruel Prince series except for the last one, and I pretty much love everything Holly Black writes except for Book of Night, which even Book of Night I've started to like think fondly of. Everything she writes I pretty much give 5 stars except for the 2 I mentioned, and I've read like all of her books, which I find it funny. I was looking at the her other books written by Holly Black section, and it leaves out so many of her books. Like, it left out Tithe, Valiant, and Ironside. It doesn't even have those on there, which I thought was kind of funny. But anyway, this is her young adult new book that is following 8 years after the last book in the Cruel Prince series, and we are following Jude's younger brother, Oak. But what's funny about this is I thought we were going to follow Oak's point of view, but we're actually following the other character in this, which I'm sure there's probably Oak chapters maybe? I don't actually know. So far what I've read about 30 pages to check it out. It's actually following Lady Surin, who is the princess from the Court of Teeth, which is a nasty, vicious court that is basically against Oak's kingdom. And where I'm at is Oak is talking to Lady Surin, who's basically a wild thing. Like, she has been living out in the human world in the wild. So it's interesting so far, different than what I thought it was going to be, because again, I thought we were following Oak, but I kind of like that we're not, because I feel like if we were following Oak, we would get a lot about Jude and Carden, and I want a little hint of them, like I want to see them at some point, but I don't want the book to be about them. So I'm kind of glad, and I kind of hope it stays just in Surin's point of view. I think that would be really neat. But anyway, I really don't know which one I want to read first. That's the problem. Like, I've read about 30 pages in both books. This one obviously very straightforward young adult book, so I might read this one first. But at the same time, I feel like this has a bigger chance of being a 5-star, while this one with the mixed media, it is a lot longer. And this is more of a risk. Like, if something happens I don't like in it, I don't want to leave this on like a sour note. So I don't know. I feel like maybe I'll do this one. I'll put on a horror movie or something. Maybe I'll do a Scream. One of my favorite series is the Scream franchise. Maybe I'll do a Scream marathon in preparation for the new movie coming out. I'm so excited. The trailer was so good. So maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe I'll read this one first and then move to this one as like a decompression kind of thing, because some of this that I already read in here is a little creepy, so maybe I'll need this afterwards. So that's what I'll do. I'll start with this one. You may see the next clip and I've changed my mind, but hopefully we'll try with this one. Maybe I'll talk about halfway through. This is not going to be a long vlog. I just want it to be like we predicted what this is going to be and we move on. I think this will be a 4 to a 4.5, depending how well they do the mixed media. And then I'm just gonna stick with a 5. This was one of my 5-star predictions, so I'm gonna stick with a 5. And yeah, so I'll update maybe about halfway, or if I just finish it, we'll talk about it. But otherwise, I'm trying to make this a very short, just fun, quick vlog. This is just going to be a very quick update because I'm about 88 pages into the book, which has taken me a while because it's really boring. Oh no. Episode 13 is definitely, it's not working. Like, I get what they're trying to do, and they're definitely following the ghost hunting protocol that shows do, but it's not working in book format currently. Normally mixed media is really good, but it's just like, it's dragging so much in this mixed media format, especially the blog posts. The blog posts are so boring because it's just like introducing the characters over and over again, and literally nothing has happened in 88 pages other than introducing the characters, and it's just like, oh my gosh, it's so boring. It's so boring, and I'm concerned. This is also a really, really long book. I really wanted to get to page 100 and update, but I don't know. I'm really worried this is like bad, and I'm very sad about it. But I'm gonna keep trying to read some and see what happens, but as of currently, not very much enjoying it. I have officially switched to the audiobook. Well, I'm doing both. Like, I am setting up some of my reading journal stuff while listening to it, but with every new chapter, I'm like double checking the chapter in the actual physical book. And it's so much better already. It's so much better. It definitely needed that like extra little oomph of having, because it has a full voice cast, so it feels like I'm listening more to like a podcast than a book. So it's working significantly better for the creepy factor instead of me just reading blog posts and etc. Like, it feels like I'm actually like watching a ghost hunting show. So significantly better. It's actually helping with the creepiness because the voice actors are like voice actors. Like, they're really working for it. So I am enjoying it significantly better now, but we'll see because I've only been listening to it for a little bit, so we need to see if it continues to work this way. Okay, so the audiobook is like officially creeping me out. It's fantastic. It is raining incredibly hard here. And I'm kind of just like having that as my background sound. And so the audiobook, like I said, the book goes from like transcripts of their like film, transcripts of their audio tapes, blogs, conversations, etc. There's just a ton of stuff. And I'm sure like later in the book there's pictures and there's like an addendum or an appendix to the audiobook. So there's definitely like pictures later in the book that I'm gonna look at. But there's sound effects. Like, there's so like we're listening to an audio recording, and while you read it, it like has in parentheses like you can hear the footsteps creaking on the stairs. Doesn't really make that big of an impact when you're actually reading it, but listening to it, they, like, you hear the footsteps and you hear the creaking of doors and you hear all this stuff, and I'm like, so I'm loving the audiobook. Again, we'll see how it is because it still hasn't been that long. I'm just like finally getting excited about this book, which is why I'm updating rapidly instead of waiting to like the next section. But fingers crossed it continues to be this exciting and kind of creepy. Like, I'm sitting by myself upstairs and I'm kind of like, this is kind of freaking me out. So we're gonna keep going. I'm gonna wait a while before the next update this time, and hopefully it continues to be creepy and I get weirded out. Okay, I am a little over 100 pages and we're going to do an actual update instead of just quick things that I've been doing on camera, basically spur of the moment things. So yes, I've switched to the audiobook. A very, very good call. Would highly suggest doing that. If you are reading this book, I would definitely get the audiobook if you are able to, because I haven't been able to find it on my Libby at least. Might be at some other people's libraries, but it was not with mine, and I couldn't find it on Hoopla either. So I ended up having to buy the audiobook. But luckily I had 2 credits. I don't buy a lot of audiobooks, so I always have credits left over. Anyway, I am about to start cleaning some of my house, so it's the perfect time to update really fast before I start that, because I'll probably get through like 100 or 200 pages, because I'm trying to clean the entire downstairs, which is going to be awful. My husband and I are very messy people. We not like trash or anything, we just place stuff things. We have an issue, both of us are just bad about placing things and then not picking it up. So we always have to actively work very hard to keep our space clean. So that is today. Today is going to be cleaning. Plenty of time to listen to my audiobook while I clean. So first, really quick update. Yes, changed to audiobook, very happy, much better. Atmosphere is perfect now. It feels like I'm listening to a ghost hunting podcast. It's wonderful. I love it. So I'm definitely going to continue doing that. And I am really sad that, like, the book isn't, in my opinion, very good just reading it. Like, I feel like you need the audio. That's unfortunate, but I'm glad I'm at least enjoying it now. I thought this may have been a DNF. I was having that much of a struggle with it. But I'm loving it now. I'm really, really liking it. Okay, if you don't know anything about this book, episode 13 is following a crew who is on the TV show Fade to Black, and they are paranormal investigators, and their shtick, like every ghost hunting show now has like a thing that has to draw people in. So their thing is they are debunkers, or at least one in the group is a debunker. So they have a married couple, which is part of their thing, and our main guy is Matt, and he is a firm believer in the paranormal. He's the one who basically made this group. He used to be in another ghost hunting group. His wife has a PhD from Virginia Tech, which I thought was really funny because that's where I went. And it's in physics, and she is the debunker. She doesn't actually do any of the ghost hunting. She looks at like the tapes afterwards and all the stuff afterwards and says, this is what caused it, this is what caused it, here's the data to prove, this is what caused the sounds, etc. So that's kind of their thing. Then they also brought on a actress. Her name is Jessica. She is a Black actress who is struggling in the acting community while also trying to take care of her son at home, and it's kind of follows her struggle. Like, everyone has their own little thing that they're dealing with. Matt wants to do more with the show. Claire actually wants off the show. She's done with it. Jessica wants to break into acting and be able to take care of her son. And then we have our behind the scenes people, which is Kevin, who is literally the worst. Kevin is literally the worst. He is an ex-police officer who swears he saw a demon while he was on shift one night, and it's kind of pushed him into the paranormal side of things, but he's just a jerk. He's just an absolute jerk, and he thinks he can do better than everybody else, and he's yuck. He is so yuck. I hope he's the first to go. So then we have, I don't know if actually anyone dies, but I'm thinking someone dies, and I hope he goes first. And then our other character is Jake, who is a behind the camera kind of guy. I actually like him. He's fun. He's very quiet, not really interested in anything that they're doing. He's just there to do his job. So that's kind of like our cast of characters. which is a very interesting cast of characters. They're all wildly different, have wildly different personalities. I would say the most compelling right now are definitely Jessica, because you are in more of her life than the other people, because in her little chapters, you're actually getting her text messages to her sister about her son and about what she's doing, dealing with all these crazy people, because she's not a paranormal investigator. She's literally an actress hired to help the show out. And so her struggle, her dealing with these idiots, and her texting her sister about her son, it's very compelling. I also really like Matt, because he really does believe in this stuff. Like, this is his baby. This show is everything to him. Claire is a little bit annoying. She's very much kind of, I'm better than everyone, because I don't know if it's like on purpose because she has a PhD, so she thinks she knows better, but she just doesn't like paranormal hunting. She's doing it basically for her husband, which is fine, but she's getting annoying. She's just getting really annoying. Kevin's the worst. Can't stand him. Can't wait till he gets out of the, if he leaves. I'm gonna be so mad if he's the one who survives. But I hope he's gone first. And then Jake I actually really like. So out of all of them, I would say I like most of them. It's really just Kevin and sometimes Claire. But Jake needs more. He's kind of definitely the most background out of all of them, has the least information. So currently some things are happening in they are investigating a house that has never been investigated before, and it's also about to be torn down, but they're going to be staying in/around the house for 72 hours to get all their footage to make. It's called episode 13 because this is their footage for episode 13. And our intro is kind of as if no one survived, but that's not 100%. It's basically someone else introing it saying, this is the footage that was found for episode 13. Do with it as you please. So you don't know if they're actually alive and just not taking interviews, or like what exactly has happened. So they all could survive. They all could be dead or disappeared. But in the house, it was... So Foundation House, where they're looking, used to be like a paranormal studies house as well. So a lot of weird stuff happened there. So, and then a bunch of people disappeared in 1972. So they're also kind of doing this mystery while also paranormal investigating. So I'm enjoying it now that I'm with the audiobook. It's making a lot more sense. The sound effects are fantastic. The voice acting is fantastic. So I'm very excited. I'm continuing. So let's go clean and listen to more audiobook. I'm at like page 200, and I swear to God, Kevin is the biggest dipshit on the planet. Oh my gosh, Craig DeLuey really nailed that bad cop thing. Like, I feel like if you're a police officer, you should not read this unless you can take a joke, because he really just like went all in on Kevin. He's like the biggest oaf, an absolute moron. And I was proven right. Jessica's the only smart one in the group. She's the only one, when they saw something, she was like, I'm out, man. She literally left. It was so funny. Like, they saw something, they all ran outside, and they're like, where'd Jessica go? She's gone. She's gone. She's gonna come back, though. She's gotta come back. She's probably gonna come back and save their asses, because all the rest of them are like, let's go back in the house. We heard all this crazy stuff, and they can definitely kill us, but let's go back in the house. And Jessica's just like, nope. No. But yeah, so either she's gonna come back and save them, or come back and get roped into it. This isn't really a spoiler, but you can skip ahead if you want to read it. It's not really a spoiler. She sneezes a lot during the book while she's in the house, and it might be like a red herring, but part of me thinks like the house has got a grip on her already. So I'm a little worried like she's gonna be the one who's possessed or something. But that's just kind of like no idea. Like right now she's not even in the house, but there's like she's sneezing a lot, so she could just be a red herring. It really just be allergies, but something about it is weird to me. But like I said, I'm really trying not to do any spoilers in this, because I definitely feel like this one is one people should listen to on audiobook, because it is highly entertaining, and you should just listen to it to listen to Kevin being a dumbass. The whole thing of this video is going to be Kevin's an idiot. That's literally what's happening right now, because he is wildly entertaining for how stupid he is. Anyway, this is just another quick update. I'm having a great time. I'm having a great time. I've cleaned a lot of my library, which is fantastic. I still have some Christmas stuff up. You can still see some of the Christmas that's up over here. We still gotta take a bunch of stuff down, and it's the end of January. I told you, we're bad at putting stuff away, and that includes decorations. So anyway, I'm gonna continue cleaning and continue listening to Kevin. So I'm like over halfway through episode 13, and I'm still enjoying it, but it's definitely not exactly what I wanted for a ghost hunting show. I definitely thought there was gonna be more gimmicky stuff. Like, I feel like the addition of Kevin was pretty gimmicky, but it's gotten, I feel like there was a big section that was missed out on. There was a lot of missed opportunity. There was a lot of build up, like explaining who everyone was, explaining what the house was, explaining what they wanted to see, going through all of that. I mean, that was like 150, 200 pages of the book. So I was like, okay, so once we get into it, I want like bump in the night things. I want stuff being moved around, wailing. I want a big chunk being that before stuff is actually revealed. But instead, it was like a big reveal, and then it's just been more big like it's not your typical ghost hunting stuff like you'd expect. Like I feel like the author did a lot of research on ghost hunting shows, but then went straight to horror movie tropes, because like instead of like not seeing the thing for a while, you see the stuff, like its hands and bodies and stuff like that. So I'm like, I kind of wish there was more subtlety to it. Like the subtlety of the ghost shows is what's fun. So that's kind of what I'm currently missing from that book, but I'm still enjoying it. It's just I have 3.5 hours left in the audiobook, and it's starting to drag a little bit compared to the middle section that I was enjoying so much. So yeah, but I plan on hopefully finishing it today. I do work today, so I probably won't start the Stolen Heir until tomorrow, which really sucks because I wanted to be finished with these 2 books before this weekend was kind of my goal. No. No. I'm so sad. I'm so sad. 2.75. And the 0.75 is for the voice acting. The audiobook experience is a 5. They were so good. It made the story bearable, but it just turned into absolute crap at the end. No. It's a no for me. It's a no for me, and I am so sad. I am so sad. This is one of my most anticipated books of 2023. This is like, for me, this was like a slam dunk. This was a slam dunk. That ending. I don't understand. I don't understand. There is no way to talk about this without talking about spoilers, so we're going to quickly talk about spoilers here. So skip ahead to the next book. We are going to get into the Stolen Heir next, and please let it be a 5-star, because I need it. I need it. This reading is going horrible. Also, the light is terrible right now. It's pretty early in the morning, but I have to get ready for PT, physical therapy. So I want to do this first before I just have to think about it for too long. Okay, so spoilers. We're going to be talking about spoilers. This book was horribly boring for about 100 pages. So for the first like 100 pages to 200 pages, we were following them in the house, just doing their blog posts, watching them fight with each other over things, etc. There's really not that much that happens, but I still almost preferred that over the ending. When you tell me that this story, my dog is really wanting some attention. When you tell me that this story is going to be about paranormal investigation and ghost hunting, etc., I want to see an episode like Ghost Brothers, or Ghost Brothers more on the funny side, Destination Fear, which is my husband's and I's favorite, Ghost Hunters, etc. I want to see basically an episode of that, but where stuff gets real. But I want it to be this oh, there's a bump in the night, and then everyone's kind of freaking out and looking at stuff. And then there's like a false alarm, like someone else made a noise and they capture it and they're like, oh, that's just Gary across the room. No. That is not what happened. And then like it escalates as the book goes on, and then they're basically like chased out of the house or they get trapped, killed, etc. No. That is not what happens. That's not what happens. Ooh, sorry, my head was starting to hurt having my hair up so tight. No, yeah, that's not what happens. So, there's like one explosive event. Suddenly this explosive event happens out of nowhere. Music, all this stuff. I thought that was really cool. I thought that was really, really, really cool. I wish there had been some lead up to it. Like, some little things happening here and there. Not it. It was a lot of blog posts. The blog posts should have been cut down if they wanted to do this mixed media style and just done raw footage for a lot more. There was way more blog posts than anything else, which I did not like. That's because that's what made it very dry and boring. And then after this big event, they go down this well that they found, which leads to a corridor, and they figure out it's like this maze system. And that's what the rest of the book is them down in this maze system getting lost and continuing to go down. And so I was like, what? And then they end up in like this funhouse mirror area of this house that they say the spirits built, and like these spirits are on a different plane of existence apparently. And you get to the and there's like this thing ripping them apart, like killing them and tricking them. And you get to the very end, and Claire is a shit, by the way. She is an absolute shit. They all want to go back, which I don't think they would have been able to anyway, but they want to go back. She goes forward instead, forcing the rest of them to go find her, except for Jessica, because Jessica's the only smart one in this book. Jessica turns around and tries to leave, but she gets lost, which is the only thing that saves her. So Claire goes forward, and then, so Matt, oh gosh, who's the idiot? I don't even remember his name. Kevin. Idiot Kevin goes with them, and Jake, who I really like, goes with him. Jake gets the raw end of the deal. He dies, being shot by Kevin, because Kevin's an idiot. And then Kevin is just unhinged, absolutely unhinged, and finds Matt and Claire. They all go forward into this, like, light. Kevin gets ripped apart, which I was like, good. And then Matt falls in a crevasse. And Claire goes into the light and becomes a spirit. She, like, disintegrates and becomes a spirit, goes and tries to get Matt out, but Matt doesn't want to leave without her, but she basically has given up everything in this world to become what she is. So she kills him to put him out of his misery as a ghost, and then goes and saves Jessica, which I did like. I did like that Jessica did survive. But my biggest holdup is, number one, that whole cave system thing. Absolutely not. I think part of it was cool, but leading to mirrors and funhouse, it just turned into like a generic weird horror at the end instead of being this paranormal investigation. There was barely any paranormal investigation. That was a ruse. It was a ruse. That was not what this is about. It was about the stupid maze and the spirits being of a different plane. But the thing that really got me was the fact that Claire was telling the end of the story as a ghost, writing blog posts. She literally is talking about how she's giving up worldly things, giving up this, giving up that. I killed Matt. Matt is suffering. All this stuff. As a ghost. As a spirit. She's writing blogs. She's writing in her little journal as a spirit. What? That's like what gave me the biggest moment of, are you kidding me? It's the generic, it's the issue with this story. It's the, when shit hits the fan, why are you continuing filming / writing in your blogs? Because that's what's happening at the end, is like they're stopping in this, like at the end they all split up and all this terrible stuff is happening, but they have the time to sit down and write in their little journals. I'm sorry. Like, I can see a farewell note. Like, you think something bad's gonna happen, you're just gonna sit down, scribble a very quick farewell note to your family. That's pretty common. But these are like long blog posts about how they're feeling and what's happening, and they're gonna try and get out, and it's just like, and then Claire writing them as a ghost. It's terrible. The ending was terrible. The only reason it gets a 2.75 and not lower is because, number one, the voice cast was amazing. They made the story. I loved listening to it because the voice cast was so good. But I just couldn't get over the ending. I was at work just cracking up at the end because it was so bizarre and just stupid. And I did like the middle section of it, like when the big explosion of things happened and they ran out of the house, when that stuff was happening. I really did enjoy that, and I wish that's what they had continued instead of escalating it down, going into this maze thing happening. So I just okay, that's pretty much all that I want to talk about that with. I'm very, very disappointed in this book. This is supposed to be really good. This is like a slam dunk for me, and it just 2.75. But yeah, so let's move on. My last hope, I think, for this month, because I don't think I'm gonna finish anything else. It is the 27th. So depending on how much I read, I probably am only going to be finishing the Stolen Heir for the rest of this month. So it's my last hope. It's my last hope to bring this month up, because it's been a rough reading month. I've read a ton. It's been a fantastic actual reading month, but in terms of quality has not been great. So let's read the Stolen Heir, and please be good. This is gonna be super anticlimactic. Like, so anticlimactic. But yeah, I already finished this. I didn't update because I just really didn't have anything to say about it as I was reading it, and so I just finished it, and it was a very, very, very quick read. So this was one of my, like I said, 23 books I want to read in 2023, and this is actually a 5-star prediction. Was it 5 stars? No. I think I know where I went wrong and why it possibly could be a 5-star in the future, but currently I give this 4 stars. The problem that I had is the continuation aspect of this, which I did not think would be an issue. So first of all, I didn't expect to be following Surin/Ren as our main character, not Oak. So that already I went into it a little confused because I thought we were going to be following Oak, so that kind of threw me off a little bit. But then I was okay with that because I really, really love Ren as a character. I adore her as a character pretty much as I love Jude. I loved Jude. I like Ren maybe even a little bit more. That's how much I love her. I thought she was such a good character. But my problem with this is the continuation aspect of this, because when did the Cruel Prince books come out? It's been a while. It's been at least 2 years, right? And I had no idea what was happening at the beginning. So if you want to get a really complete reading experience through this, unless you remember everything that happened in the series, I would actually go back and reread the whole series. And that's kind of my plan. I would like to do that before the end of the year. I would like to go back and read The Cruel Prince, The Wicked King, and The Queen of Nothing, and then go to this. That's what I would actually like to do, because I was so confused because I didn't remember a lot about Oak. What I got from that series is obviously my love for Cardan, my love for Jude, love for the world. I knew Maddox was in exile, and that's pretty much it. Like, I don't remember a lot from that, and then like the sister drama, all that stuff. I remember that. I don't really remember Oak that much. I didn't remember Ren at all. I totally forgot she was in the original series because I just really forgot what the conflict was, because in my brain, like, after it's been a while, what I'm going to remember are the things that stuck out the most, and that's normally the characters. And for me, the characters that stuck out the most were Jude and Cardan, obviously, and like some of her like Shadow Squad. But Oak did not stick out, Ren did not stick out, and so reading the beginning of this, I was so thrown off because they kind of just, like, there's maybe a chapter of being introduced to Ren and her struggles, and then they throw you right in there. Like, Oak shows up, and you go. And they're talking about stuff that I was like, am I supposed to know this? So it took me about 50 pages to be like, I gotta pause. I paused, and then I went and basically read a synopsis of the past books. And then I looked up each character to like reread over what happened in the original series. And that kind of was like, oh, okay, I remember what happened. I remember that happening. I remember that. But because I had no emotional connection to them going into the books, it wasn't there for me for a while. So it just felt like reading just this continuation that I just didn't really, like, it was fine because I liked Ren. It was good, but it took me a while to really connect with the characters. And the other thing that really hurt is I really like Oak as a character, but when you have Carden as a main romance in the previous 3 books, and then you introduce somebody else in the same world, and they aren't up to Carden levels, that threw me off a little bit because I just did not love Oak as much as I love Carden, and my brain could not help connecting the two because it is in the same universe, and I think that also hurt the book for me. But the story is actually really, really fun. I loved it. It's basically a travel story. The whole story. Normally I don't like traveling, but there was so much action and so much going on during the traveling. It was really, really cool. And then the map at the beginning is amazing. The map at the beginning, I don't know if her previous maps did this, but because this is a travel one, they kind of show the path that they take, and the illustrations are the things that they come across, which is so cool. So you can actually map, and they actually have Carden, I keep calling him Carden. They have Oak, Tiernan, and Hyacinth literally in the map, and then they show the swamp that they go in where a witch is eating something, and then they show this underground area that they go into, and then they show like the bad guy. It's so cool. It's so cool, and I loved referring back to the map and like being like, okay, this is what they just did. This is what they just did. I see it literally right here. So I absolutely loved that. But like I said, I just had a really, really hard time initially connecting with the story, and I think that definitely hurt my love of the story. I love the setup for the second book. The setup for the second book is so good, which also has me worried because one of the best setups to a book was the end of Wicked King, and Queen of Nothing turned out to be pretty rough. So I'm like, okay, great setup. I cannot wait for the next book to come out. So like I said, I think upon a reread, I would really like it. And I think I'll probably do that in like December, because hopefully the next book to finish the duology will come out next January. So hopefully I can probably read the whole series November, December, if I remember, if I remember to do that, because this was one of my 5-star predictions. This is one of the most exciting books I've been waiting for to come out. So for me, it was just kind of a letdown because of how excited I was. This and Hellbent were my most anticipated books of the entire year, because Holly Black is one of my favorite authors. So I think I almost was like too high up there. Something else that I absolutely loved. If you wanted to see a lot of Jude and Carden in this book, they're not in it, like, at all. They're mentioned. And I actually really appreciate that, because at first I thought I wanted them in it a lot. And then I thought about A Court of Silver Flame. A Court of Silver Flame has the issue where they're in it too much. Rhys and Fair are just in the book too much, and they almost become villains. Like, Rhys's character is annoying as hell, and I didn't want that. I was so upset when I started not liking them, because it's that situation of when you're the main character, your feelings, your emotions, what's going around you is kind of what's most important, obviously, to you. So you have that issue in ACOTAR through ACOWAR, or I guess actually Frost and Starlight. You are in Fair's head. Therefore, Rhys is perfect. His friends are perfect. Your court is perfect. You are flawed and wonderful. but you see inside her brain, so she's not this like overwhelming good creature of amazingness. And then you get to Silver Flame, where you're in Nesta's head, so now Cassian is like the better option, and now Fair and Rhys are kind of annoying, so I don't like that. So I'm actually really glad that Jude and Cardan weren't in this, because they definitely would have been like a annoying force to the situation at hand. So I'm actually really, really glad they weren't in it. I definitely know they're probably going to be in the next one due to the circumstances surrounding the end of this book. So I am kind of nervous about that, and I hope we don't go too far away from like their original characterizations is my main goal for the next book. But anyway, I finished it. I did very much enjoy it. I enjoyed reading it. Those are kind of the qualms that I had with it. And like I said, upon a reread of the whole series, I think this could be a 5 stars. So we're gonna see towards the end of the year. Anyway, that's the 2 books that I read. We had at least one that was good. I was actually talking, and I don't know where the other book is. Of course, it was in the pile behind me, so everything has fallen. I was actually talking, I was in reading sprints, and they were talking about this because I think both reading sprints that I checked out were both thriller horror reading sprints, or by YouTubers. One was Riveting Reads, and I don't remember what the other one was, but Reading Riley was a guest on it, and she's a big horror thriller reader. So they were talking about this, and pretty much everyone had the same thoughts, that it was disappointing. And I was like, well, at least I'm not alone. It makes me feel better, because horror is not my genre. That when people who are very much into horror don't like a book, and they agree with me, I'm like, okay, it's not just me. It's not just me. I actually maybe like horror, because every time I don't like a horror book, I'm like, do I like this genre? Do I like it? And I don't know. What is it? What's the phrase? I'm really bad at phrases. My husband makes fun of me all the time. The jury's out. The jury's out if I like horror books, because I like horror movies, but the jury is out if I like horror books or not. So yeah, that's 2.5, something like that. 2.5, I don't remember what I rated it, and then a 4. I'm just glad I got these done. My goal was to finish these in January, and I have finished them in January, so I cannot complain. But I had a good time. I'm glad I vlogged this experience, especially for episode 13. Like, I know you didn't get anything for the Stolen Heir, but everyone's gonna read that one. I feel like more people were interested in thoughts about this one, because not as many people are going to pick it up right away compared to this one, which everybody is trying to read right now. Make sure you let me know in the comments down below if you guys read these, what you thought about them. If you want to pick up either one of them, I still recommend people try this on audiobook. I do still recommend that, because I want to know what other people think, because still not a ton of people have read it. So I'm very curious still what more people think about this one. I know people have been loving this one, so I'm not surprised if a lot of people like it, but I do still want to know what everyone thinks about these, and if you want to pick up any. So that's all I got for you. Make sure you like the video, make sure you subscribe for more content, and yeah, that's all I got. So I will see you guys in the next video.